In this video, I will show you how to shift realities to one which you want to experience. And regardless if you know this or not, you are shifting through the quantum realm, reality shifting, whether if you believe me or not, or understand the physics of it. You are shifting parallel realities based on your beliefs and how you're thinking, acting, feeling, how you're showing up, the past patterns of where you are and how things have been. So most people are stuck into that reality based on the patterns and programming they have. So I will show you how to shift. That way you can experience the reality which you prefer. And have a coffee with me. Bensi, your divine feminine empowerment and spiritual awakening coach. I'm here to move you from fear to freedom, from fog to clarity, from trauma to transcendence, and falling completely in love with your life. And just like all good coaches, just when you think you can't take another step, I am going to give you a little shove so you can fall in love with yourself. Let's get it. So what does this entail? How do we shift our beliefs in order for us to move to the reality which we want to experience? And what that really stems from is your past beliefs, your past patterns, wounds, lack of abundance, lack of worthiness, right? Lack of doing the inner work. What do you believe to be true about your reality? And the best way to make this shift is to heal and forgive and move forward. And forgive means give it a new meaning. And a lot of the times we're stuck in parent patterns of the past that we haven't really looked within, and the universe is constantly reflecting to you your beliefs. Law of attraction, how you're showing up in the world. Law of reflection, what you're putting in is what you're getting back. And if your beliefs are dictating your behavior and your actions and who you're being and showing up as, you're going to be stuck there. So until you make that shift and believe that you are this version of you, you're going to be repeating the same patterns until you start acting and thinking and being. How do we do it? So one of the greatest things about healing is realizing Ho'oponopono. I did mention this in my previous video. However, I didn't go over it. And it goes with 4 phrases. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. What does this mean? So I experimented, tried my own creation of it, and earlier today, it worked. And I'm going to go over a personal, vulnerable story where I got to release a lot of shame today, a lot of lack of abundance, worthiness, and areas that I looked into that were open to me through a portal, a wormhole. Whenever you get triggered, there's a wormhole directly pointing out where that's stemming from. And the thing about that wormhole, it's not just you get to go ahead and look within and find out where it is. It's adding awareness. Once you add awareness to it, you can heal from it instantly. It's if you choose to stay stuck in the past feelings about that situation rather than using Ho'oponopono and healing it. And the thing is, a lot of people are afraid to step through that fire and go into the wormhole because you may get burned. It's going to be painful. You have to re-experience those feelings. So I am going to get a little raw today because I have some emotions that I just literally processed about 5 minutes ago and finished processing. And I did this all within a day. This will show you the real-time effects of using this process and how it works to shift your reality. Let's see, just making sure we're recording still. So, Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. My version of this is so we take the understanding that if we're all sourced from the same creator, all the divine, having individual fragments of each other, individual fragments of ourselves experiencing this current reality, got the veil of amnesia, curtain's been dropped, you're you experiencing you from a different life. All right, so you get to rendezvous with yourself. So whenever anything has ever happened in your life, and you say, I'm sorry. Why do we say I'm sorry when it's not even your fault? When they did something to you, why are you saying I'm sorry? Take our laws, our spiritual laws, reflection, law of attraction. I'm sorry because I take responsibility for what was in my energetic field. All the beliefs, all the things and past traumas that I've chose to suppress in my life and didn't look at, the universe is just reflecting to me because it's just a reflection of what you believe to be true. Even the thing is that the key is your subconscious. When you think about your inner child, it's not just your inner child when you were a child. It's literally you a year ago that suffered pain. It's your subconscious beliefs. So it's about adding awareness to these beliefs in order for you to shift from the reality that you're in to the new one. Because now you're safe with yourself. So now that you can take responsibility of what was in your field, because you can now realize, where did that stem from? This is my fault. I carried around that, all men or all women are crazy, that I can't find a good lover, that I've been betrayed in the past, so it's going to keep happening again. The karmatic cycle will keep repeating. You're going to keep attracting people, places, and things that are going to reflect that wounded version of you that's in your subconscious. So whenever someone does something bad to you, brush was bothering me, I had to move it. It's about taking responsibility because it's a reflection. Why are they doing this? Where in my life have I seen this play out before? This familiar energy. Familial, maybe, from family, parent patterns. So once you can recognize that this is something that's a reflection of you, you say, I'm sorry. You don't have to say it to them. You can do it from far away. You do this to things from a year ago, 2 years ago. Whenever you had a traumatic event or a disconnection with someone, you want to let go and forgive and change your reality. You start with recognizing where it stemmed from. That once you find that area on why that was reflected to you, I'm sorry. I take responsibility for it. Then you say, please forgive me. Give it a new meaning. Or you wouldn't have gotten this opportunity to heal what happened. Because it happened through you. You chose to experience it. You subconsciously had this in your mind, and you're asking not only for them to forgive you, you're also forgiving it. So you're asking them to forgive you, as in, please forgive me for what was in my energetic field. I hope you can find a new meaning to it. I hope you can also see what I reflected to you. I hope that through this, you can shift yourself. Because through it, I'm also forgiving. I'm giving it a new meaning. Because thank you, this next phrase, is gratitude, showing gratitude. Look who I have become because of it, because of the steps I took, because I decided to go through the wormhole, through that fire, to look within, find where that wound was. And if it wasn't for you reflecting that to me, I wouldn't be making this video right now. I wouldn't be showing up this vulnerable. I wouldn't be able to express this. Because now I took steps to realize I'm grateful because it allowed me to heal. It allowed me to move forward through the pain, through the struggle. And now I don't have to ever experience it again because now I have awareness on it. Yeah, I mean, things will still come up. You're still going to have the human experience. I have awareness. I'm more prepared because of you. Thank you. I love you. Next phrase. And I love you no matter how bad it was, no matter how much horrible they treated you, I love you because I want the best for you. The vibration of unconditional love. That was my special notebook here. So I wrote it on the very back pages where it's really, really special because this is the modality. This is the healing modality. And once you realize, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, unconditional love without the condition needing to change, whether or not they show up and they apologize or whatever, you want the best for them. And as long as you want the best for others, the universe has got your back, and people are always going to want the best for you. You have to reach that point, though. You can't just use karma or the law of reflection and want the best for people because you want the best for you. That's manipulative. It's because you're actually healing and you genuinely want the best for them because you want them to also forgive it and give it a new meaning. For them to realize they don't want to act that way anymore to other people or themselves, and they want to shift their reality. Thank you because you're grateful. And I'm sorry because it was in my energetic field. I created the reality version of you that you reflected to me, my area of wound, my familial pattern. And you know what? The only time, even whenever somebody does anything bad to you, or they cheat on you, or they lie and file, a lawsuit or something crazy against you that they lied about, we never actually want bad for people. We don't even want to countersue them or anything. Or the only time and why we associate negativity or we want something bad or we want justice, we don't actually want any of those things. All we actually want is for them to know how they made us feel. How they made us feel in the process. How what they did to us, how it hurt us. And a lot of times we get defensive. We're triggered. It's fight or flight. Run away or fight it. What about showing compassion and unconditional love to it? Because once you realize that, I'm sorry, it was in my energetic field. You're not that you're sorry. It was my. You're taking responsibility for it being in your energetic field. That you didn't clear this wound up sooner. It's not your fault. It's you're taking responsibility, and now it's brought awareness to it. Right? Please forgive me. I hope you can forgive me for having this in my energetic field. I hope we can both forgive it, and I'm going to forgive it also. It's a reflection both ways. They're saying sorry to you as you're saying sorry to them. Please forgive me is going both ways. You're just a reflection of yourself. Everybody's an individual fragment of source, God, purple monkey dishwasher in the sky, whatever you want to call it. No religious uproar here. And I'm going to focus on this so you get it. Because forgive me is being reflected. I'm sorry. It's both ways. You're just them in a different version saying the same thing. And you get to control that connection and release it with thank you. Thank you for showing me this to the point where I can see and be grateful because without you, I wouldn't have looked within to heal this wound. I love you. I want the best for you. Thank you so much. I love you. And once you can realize this, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, you're setting yourself free. You're taking responsibility for what's in your field. You're saying, thank you for the opportunity for me to heal. I want the best for you. And you're forgiving it and giving it a new meaning. Because of this, I shifted. Thank you. Now, I hope you're with me on this. I hope you're following me on this. Coffee sessions are, it's where we just kind of get a little wild. Now, I recently just had to experience this in real time and shift my belief, right? And I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what happened. And I don't want to get too into it because it is still kind of fresh, although I did process it and it did create a new outcome. So yesterday I was busy focusing. I needed time for me to create content. And my mom, you know, she's asking me to do stuff for her. She wants to, she's downloading music from YouTube Premium or whatever, to her iPad, and she wants to put it on the computer and move it to a USB so she can play it in the car. I'm like, oh, you can just connect your iPad to the Bluetooth. She's like, oh, but she wants her phone, whatever. Either way, point is, she wanted me to do something for her, and she's not giving me like the respective boundary because I put it in there in place, and I'm like, hey, I think you should go look this up on Google. I have other things to do. This isn't really fitting my schedule. You're springing this on me at a random, right? And then I'm like, I really don't have time for this. And here's a part of me where I get to be as vulnerable and show up for all of you, for the whole internet to see, and how I also have released shame around money, and that was a huge thing I held for a long time because I grew up so poor. And yeah, when I was younger, I worked and I had jobs that paid me really well, corporate jobs, whatever. Right? So I know how to get paid. I know how to work for someone else. Except recently, when I had a divine storm last year and got a concussion and had no choice but to be let go, and realized people, places, and things I've attracted were no longer in alignment for me. And it was time for me to shift because I wasn't happy. That same day, my whole living situation changed, and then like 2 weeks later, I get a concussion to solidify me being let go from the job I no longer wanted to have. And I kept trying, and I did really well. Well, in terms of like service, but like I was unhappy there. And either way, I found myself moving into my mom's condo, and she liked to go ahead and use, well, you live here for free. And I'm like, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity while I build myself from the ground up and start my coaching business, create programs for people, because this is what I want to do with my life. And I don't want to work for anybody else ever again. All right. So I invested in myself. I bought a course to show me everything, marketing, all this stuff. Content creation's part of it. Although I'm giving away my best stuff for free because I do genuinely want people to grow and have freedom in their lives. If somebody wants to work with me one-on-one or in a group program, I'm creating it. I'm creating the space for it. That people want that. And most importantly, still give it out here for free. Right? So anyway, point is, I told her like, thank you, I appreciate it. But you can't use this to manipulate me to do stuff for you, because also at the same time, you're putting all this pressure on me to either get a normal job because the path I'm walking isn't normal to you, isn't normal to my mom, right? And what's really funny about it is, like, I am kind of rushing, and the more pressure I put on myself, kind of the worse I do. Law of reflection's kicking in, so it's like I still have to mitigate and relax and be at ease. And it's like I have awareness to these things, right? So if she pressures me, my content will be affected. Like if I allow it to, it'll affect my flow and my vibe. However, there's always a lesson to learn. So she mentioned this to me, and I'm like, well, there's a lack of abundance stemming from childhood still, even though I'm walking the path I am. And then as I, was like, all right, I'll help you. I told her I'd help her because like she just kept going on about it. She really wants it. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll help you. And then I was running the dishwasher again, and oh man, this is some, I have some shame I'm releasing over this stuff because it's like, oh no, people are gonna see me as living with my mom rent free, well, in her condo, right? She doesn't really live here; she lives with her boyfriend. So it's kind of like, but this is where I release the shame, because it'd be different if I wasn't highly motivated, if I didn't take action, if I didn't invest in myself, new equipment, microphone, focusing on creating this for people, focusing on bettering my life. Because I know at any moment I can go get a job. I can even go back to school and finish my RN if I want and become a nurse, right? So I have options. However, this is the route I'm taking, and walking through this fire, no one in my family's walking. I'm breaking a generational curse of abundance, worthiness, and fear, and needing to be safe and secure, right? And I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm taking advantage of what's available to me. Still putting in effort, still putting in the work, right? I don't know very many people putting in this much work and creating daily content, even in the course that I'm in. People are always going through their own struggle. I'm consistent and I'm showing up because I'm all in. I already burned the boats. All right. Anyway, so point is, I walk out. Because I was in the bathroom and she was talking to me through the door. She stopped by to see me and visit or whatever. She wanted this help with music, and she's not even respecting my privacy, like the boundary there. And I go and I tell her, like, can you just leave me anyway, I was there too. I was like, can you leave me alone? Like, I'm in the bathroom. Like, can we talk about this when I get out? Anyway, so I got out and I ran the dishwasher, and she was there earlier with my little brother, and she put like a dirty dish in there or something. And I was like, dude, I literally just ran it. So I was like, I ran it again. She came back. She's like, why are you running the dishwasher again? All the dishes are clean. The dish I put in there, I rinsed off and cleaned. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what else you guys have done. I know she's like ADHD and doesn't keep track of things. And it's like, I don't know who else has put anything in there. And those are clean dishes. I just want clean dishes to put away. So I'm like, I don't know. I know, like, whatever. Maybe me being a little bit of a germaphobe. This is what I want. So I did it. And she's like, why are you? It costs money, blah, blah, blah. So there it is. Her lack of abundance from being younger. She's always, even the smallest things, it's like penny pinching. All right. Why? Because we grew up with my dad doing that. My mom actually was the breadwinner the whole time. We had no idea. I had no idea. My dad was actually siphoning money and buying land in Bulgaria, putting it under his dad's name to, preparing just in case they ever divorced. Maybe he was planning it the whole time. And, there was times when my dad was on unemployment for a very long time and trying to start businesses and whatnot and failing. And, he did a couple of them. And I think now he has a successful business. Oh man, these coffee sessions, holy crap. Point is, saw a lack of abundance right there, penny pinching and stuff. And I told her, hey, I don't have time for this. I validate that what you're showing me, that you're upset about it. I'm running the dishwasher again. I get it. Right. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about it if you want my help, because I get to go make content and I'm focused on that because you pressure me constantly to either get a normal job again, or when am I going to have better results and be a billionaire and financially free the way you think it should be when somebody owns a business. Like, she literally thinks Rome was built in a day. Like, she doesn't understand any of the process of actually building all of this, right? There's a lot of work, a lot of hurdles to go over. It's not very easy showing up for the whole internet to see and creating videos like this. And it was hard, it is. I've had a lot of ups and down moments. However, I'm grateful for them because it's created a lot of resilience, a lot of strength, and a lot of focus. I never thought I'd be doing this right now, this vulnerable. And I chose earlier, before I made this video, that I release my shame over money. Okay. So I'm releasing it. And so what? I know there's other people struggling and wanting to create better lives for themselves. You might be one of them. And I support you. And my mom pressures me a lot, even though I'm already putting in the work, right? She saw me rest for one day. She's like, you should be working 24/7 if you're starting a business, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, well, where's your business? She's like, that's why I'll never own one. All right, so the point is, that happened. And then I told her, I am either going to help you with this or we're going to keep arguing because you're wasting my time. Like, do you want to keep arguing with me about the dishwasher? Because I already validated your feelings. It's not going to change. It's still on. Like, I get it. I heard you. Now you're denying, this, and you're wasting my time. Like, I could have been done probably figuring out your iPad situation by now, but you already decided to waste 10 minutes freaking out, even though I've, so it's like, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to help you. Finally decided, I'm just like, I'm not going to help you. Go figure it out yourself. And, if I have time, I will, but it's not happening now. Like, and then she's like, she got mad. She didn't get what she wanted. She didn't hear it. And then she realized when I wasn't going to help her with her iPad, she's like, I want you out of my life. blah blah blah, yada yada. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a good feeling. She does that, right? She doesn't have like. Um, Sometimes this does happen with my mom, and to this time though, I realized because I've been focused more on my awareness and adding awareness and where this trigger is and where these beliefs are coming from. And I started not feeling. I was already not feeling kind of good the past couple days. Today, a little same. So I felt really sick. So I took a nap, and it was like hurting. Like I felt the pain, and usually I just kind of brush it off because that's just the way it is or the way she is. But that's a belief, right? That's a belief that I'm going to normalize this type of reality into my world. This is giving me a clear opportunity to express vulnerably how I feel when she does things like this, right? So went ahead, took a nap, and I started thinking about it. And then earlier this morning, I was writing down all these notes and how I felt, and it was how I've been feeling with her in the past and everything else when she does stuff like this and when she acts like this. 26 minutes in. It's gonna be a long video. I hope you're getting some value out of this. I would not be sharing this if I didn't think there was value, and I know it's a little elongated. I am having my own slight fear of vulnerability, and I may have a vulnerability hangover when I do end up posting this video. I do hope it assists you on your journey, and if you're experiencing a similar and related thing, let me know. Let me know in the comments, because I don't want to feel alone, and I'm sure you don't either. Either way, I'm going to keep surviving. I'm going to keep being resilient and keep moving forward regardless. So I sat down, wrote down the things, and I because it's releasing as I wrote it down, like, hey, I feel like you don't really listen. Every time I try to talk to you, every time I try to express my feelings to you, you want to suppress and you want to go do and be busy, and you pick the worst times to ever talk to me. You never actually want to talk to me because you always want to express something when you're busy and cleaning. Man, being vulnerable is sometimes difficult with words. Jeez. See, I didn't think I knew I was planning to share this stuff. It's way different when you're doing it. This is real time. These aren't fully processed through. So, showing you it's okay to be human. The value. Either way, I wrote it down. You're always busy. You're always doing things when you want to talk to me, and then you don't want to listen. Driving, whatever. Dang, I really just had to like take a break for a second. And I realized like I'm talking really fast. I don't know if it's this third cup of coffee. And there's some like vulnerability, fear. What are people gonna think of me? Coming up a little bit. And am I getting my point across? I'm fearing that if I'm getting it correctly out or not. Either way, so I wrote down the stuff, what I wanted to say to her. And right before I made this video, I just got off the phone with her, like literally 5 minutes prior. And I did end up expressing to her how I felt, how it feels when I try to talk to her and she doesn't want to listen. And because my dad was abusive to me and her, especially when I was growing up, and for 20 something years of her life, she had to suppress her feelings and emotions, and she thought she couldn't speak up. Even with her new boyfriend, who's like loving and compassionate, sometimes she has issues, and I explain to her, you need to tell him how you feel. If you want something, if you want him to adjust and find a compromise with you, you have to express your feelings. She's like, no, if I do that, I'm like, why? Because why? She's like, because your dad used to beat me when I would speak up and say how I felt. I'm like, that's the thing. Your new boyfriend is not gonna do that. So she started doing that more frequently, and it's been helping her relationship, right? So same thing. I helped her realize that you're always avoiding feelings. You're not taking consideration how I feel. And I brought it up. Like, we never know, like, how much time we have on the planet. You never know when someone's going to go. So, and just like this happened last year when my cat was passing away, I had taken my cat to a vet and then ER later that night when she passed. However, like, my mom was staying here in the condo that night, and cat wasn't doing so well. And my mom, she's kind of like a super clean freak. She wants things to be super shiny. Shiny is how she says it. And, having a cat was kind of not very pleasant for her. So that same night, like as my cat is like not doing well, and she starts screaming and yelling, and she does this because she thinks she's Bulgarian, and that's how Bulgarians are, and that's how she was raised. And I addressed this with her on the phone call recently. However, I did point this all out to her, just like when my cat passed away, you were screaming and yelling, you can't have a cat here. You don't like how messy a cat is, all these things. And my cat's literally not feeling well. And then later, 2, 3 hours later, she took a turn for even the worst, right? And we all went to the animal ER where I got to say bye to my beloved cat, and she passed away in my arms. And my mom, I let her hold the body. Mom like started tearing up, and she was sad because she realized she can't take back what she said. And I pointed this out to her. It's like you say these things until someone's gone, then you realize like how you're reacting. And this is something I recently had a conversation with her about and helped her in a relationship about reacting to your emotions versus responding. Right? And yesterday I didn't do the best job of responding to her thing about the dishwasher. I could have been more addressing and more validating to it. I did validate it. She was so upset and angry, she kept wanting to go at it before she calmed down and like could move forward. And I was just like, I'm not dealing with this now, right? Either way, I pointed out, just like Xena, my cat, when she passed away, you said that night you can't have a cat. And then you realized after she passed how aggressive and stuff you've been saying the past couple weeks, or every time you see her and you have a problem about this, you're blaming it on the mess, and then you're reacting to it. And then she realized that. She realized how bad she felt because she thought Xena would never forgive her. Like my mom actually thought that Xena wouldn't forgive her with how she treated her, which was, just overreactions of her emotions. Not that her emotions weren't valid towards the messes or anything, just the way she reacted. And then I told her, when you left yesterday and you told me to get out of your life after this whole dishwasher thing, like, what if I'm not here tomorrow? What if what if the same thing happens? She's like, well, you're not going anywhere, Vency. And I'm like, I know. Either way, though, like, is that how you want to show up in the world? Is that how you want to treat people because you were sorry? And it's like, I'm letting you know how it made me. And I'm letting you know how I felt when you did this. And she actually realized it. She actually realized and took a moment to address it with me. And here's the thing about Ho'oponopono. Earlier, what I was doing is I was doing that. And because of this whole situation, this wormhole I went through, it took me down memory lane. Because about 6, maybe 7 years ago, when my parents divorced, because my dad was abusive and my mom, and I wasn't staying at home, because what I did was things got so bad at home at one point that I told my dad, like, you continue doing what you're doing, I'm going to the police. All right, he's threatened me before in the past that if I go to the police, he'll break every single bone in my body. And I reached the point where it's like, hey, I'm old enough and I'm sick and tired of this. Like, this is how it's going to go. You're going to start being better. And he did for a little while. And I went through a party phase, and I barely even stayed at home. I stayed at a friend's house for months and partied and had fun. And I was struggling like mentally. This was years ago. It's before their divorce. And then eventually I found out my dad was like doing unconsensual things to my mom, and that, bring up an R word. And then also through that, what I heard is like he wouldn't let her go to the bathroom and pee when she had to, right? He like made sure he blocked like physically doing things and getting out of hand. And I had to come back home and find out like what is going on. And my mom, one of the times I came back, because every time I would come back, he'd start acting nice and okay again, and it was this constant like abusive stuff. And I would leave, and then he could start acting up, and then my mom asked me, she like begged me one night, she's like, please, Nancy, help me get out of this. Like you know, she couldn't deal with it anymore. And I'm like, all right, I'll help you figure out how to get a divorce. Like, we'll figure it out. Even though I've been mentioning it for like a while, like this is not healthy, but it's like, do whatever you want. You keep giving him chances. I mean, heck, even I didn't want my dad to go to jail. I couldn't see a therapist for so long or a school counselor because if I did ask them once, if I had mentioned somebody's abusing me, what are the repercussions? Like, oh, we have to file a police report, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, because, my dad will kill me if I do that in my head. So I never mentioned it. So I couldn't mentally get the help I needed for years. And I did start seeing a psychologist about like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Started doing a lot of inner work, a lot of familial patterns. And this was it. Because I'm pointing this out because my mom asked so much of me. And I had the biggest worthiness wound because no matter how much I've been there for her, no matter how much I've protected her, no matter how much I could do to help her realize that she's not in a safe place, it's her fears driving her from doing it. Because she was afraid, what if she does this? What's my dad gonna do? Right? And the thing is once it all happened, once my mom was all alone and she was divorced, one day she freaked out on me because she's now alone. She doesn't have someone there anymore. Her codependency, like she was so used to abuse for so long that she actually blamed me for the divorce. She's like, now I have nobody in my life. Just because me and her got on like a disagreement about something. I don't remember what it was. Either way, she said that divorce was my fault. And she's like, your dad is right. The divorce is your fault. Even my dad said the same thing to me. He's like, this is all your fault, blah, blah. It's like, all I did was assist you both in stopping this toxicity. My dad is now remarried and he says he's happy with somebody and it's the best life he's living, right? And he has a business now. He's successful, is what I'm hearing from my little brother. And my mom found basically the lover of her life. Had they never had that divorce, this would have never happened. So my mom to come and tell me that the divorce was my fault, and now she's all alone. And then I think sometime between that week, she also told me she wished she had me aborted. And guess what? I was actually supposed to be aborted. She was about to go do it because my dad kept pressing it. And my dad also, for hearing from my mom, punched my mom's stomach a bunch of times, beat her, literally tried to abort me himself when he found out my mom wasn't going to do it. Because my grandma said, no, stop, have the baby. I'll raise it. We'll figure it out. So I'm grateful for that. My dad tried to physically abort me himself by beating up my mom. And my mom told me, I wish I had you aborted. Because now she's all alone and it's my fault. Guess what that does? Doesn't matter if it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever the time frame was. That's a worthiness wound. The person that's my parent that I've looked up to my whole life as my nurturer, provider, until I turned like 18, then I worked and then I provided my own financial stability. The people that I'm supposed to that I viewed as gods, even though they were toxic and dysfunctional, right? Tell me that basically I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of their love. They mistreated me. And it's like all these things, right? But this was my worthiness wound that I realized through the portal my mom gave me yesterday. It's like, why does this keep showing up? And why does it hurt so much when she tells me she wants me out of her life? And it's like, no matter what I've done to help her and assist her in her life and be there for her more than anybody ever has, because I know her brother's been a freaking con artist and swindling money whenever he can, from at least from what I hear. And it's like my dad con artist her also. And it's like me, yeah, I'm in a weird place in my life where I am a little financially needing your support as I take on this new journey. The last 3 years, though, I wasn't. I lived on my own. Like, you know? Actually, I moved out like 5 years ago. Yeah, it's been like, yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago I moved out, and I moved back in last year. And I had a divine storm hit. I didn't plan to stay this long. I didn't plan to start a business or focus this way. And then I had a concussion where I lost my job. Well, I was let go. And then I had post concussion syndrome for a certain amount of time. And, I was still looking for jobs during that time and whatever. And then finally, like, once I healed and started getting unemployment and decided I'm just going to go all in on this. All the right courses showed up, everything. I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. And it's like, yeah, I'm in a weird place. And I am in need of some assistance. Although I just gave my mom like $6,000-7,000 that I owed her the other day. It's like either way, I'm doing my best, and I've done my best, and I've shown up for her more than anybody in our family has. And guess what? After that divorce, my dad did grab my mom one more time when she was dropping off my little brother's computer, and he knew she was like dating someone and seeing someone. He got mad and upset when she wouldn't want to talk about it or something, and he grabbed her and he left like a mark on her. Called the police. We filed for a protection order, and she was supposed to do that on her own type stuff. And I was in nursing school, by the way. I was in I was in anatomy and physiology 200, and then I think I had statistics and then psychology 200 or something. I was taking 3 full-on full-time classes, prerequisites for nursing, for the nursing program I was going to join. And so I can become a nurse. And during this time, during this like protection order thing, she hired an attorney who did nothing. She paid like $5,000-6,000 for nothing because she dropped her because she felt like she wasn't doing anything, and she wasn't. And then she came to me, literally begging me to help her, and I'm like, I have very intense science classes. And the anatomy physiology professor said, if you have any other classes besides this one, I highly recommend you drop them to the whole class. She said, this is a very intense class. Right. And I'm like, oh crap. Am I like the only full time student here during that time? And my mom asked me, she's like, I need your help. And this is like my midterm exam week. And it was coming up in like 2-3 days. And I try to study as much as I can and assist her at the same time. And then when she drops her attorney, and the night she's supposed to submit all this stuff to a paralegal, this testimony, she asked me to do it and replied all the things my dad started fabricating and whatnot. So that way, she's like, can you help me with this? And I'm like, I can't. Like, I have to study because my exam is tomorrow. And if I don't, I'm going to flunk this class. So I stayed up the whole night till like 6 a.m. typing up the stuff. It was like 20 pages or something like that. There was a lot of stuff to reply to and respond to. So I did. And I ended up flunking 2 of my classes. Not flunking. I think I still got like a D in the anatomy and physiology, but my spirits were dropped after that. And it's like I paid for these classes myself. I only got to pass one of them. It was a psychology class. Like, and I think I got a 4.0 in it. But I had to drop it, and that shot down my, like, that just fed right back into like, oh, I'm not good at school belief, right? So whatever. Either way, like, I did that for her, and still, worthiness wound kicking in. It's like, you're still gonna tell me you wish you had me aborted. You still, like, you know, all of these things. Like, the divorce is my fault. Like, you're still gonna, like, and here's my worthiness. Like, no matter how much I did, it didn't matter to her. No matter how much I've done for her, she still refuses to look at herself and treat me and respond to me in a way that's loving. So, what did I do today? I looked through that wormhole. I stepped through that fire. I know this is a very long story. I'm not trying to be boohoo, sad, whatever. Let's get this green drink going. Man, when I edit this video, I don't even know, dude. Either way, I went through the wormhole and I saw this wound of where she told me she wanted me to be aborted, where the divorce was my fault after I essentially like helped and saved her, right? And then when she's leaving yesterday and telling me she wants me out of her life, out of her pure reaction, it's like, yeah, that hurt. Right? I didn't feel very good. And instead of internalizing it, I realized it's not her fault. Right? Sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I looked within and I went through the wormhole and I'm like, where is this stemming from? Where are other times that this is being reflected to me? And I'm like, holy crap, my mom has been the biggest worthiness wound that I've ever had. I mean, not just my dad, but she's actually been harboring most of my worthiness. Like, I've put, when she says that I'm lazy or I'm horrible or stuff like that, and I don't do anything, it's like, you literally have no idea how much I'm doing, and there's no way, like, I will ever see you do this much. I'm not trying to compare anything. It's like, she has no idea the amount of work I actually do and have done in my life and the achievements. Again, I was 18 years old managing people older than me because I busted my butt at a corporate company to figure out how to become a very good salesperson. I had freaking everybody else seasoned in their position, in the same position as me in other locations, wondering what the heck I'm doing. How is this 18 and 19-year-old surpassing all of us? Because I just kept, I became obsessed and I burned the boats. Either way, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. Point is like, yeah, even I have things that I was confident, but still it affects me when she says stuff like that, and it still has been. And I realized all my mom is doing is telling me I have blue colored hair and she doesn't like it. Oh, is my hair color blue? Is it blue? Is it blue? My hair color isn't blue. She can believe whatever she wants. Her opinion of me is no longer affecting me now because I'm healing it. Now I see where the worthiness stems from. I've put my worthiness in her hands. I gave her the power because she's my mom, right? And I let go of it today. And I said, you know what? It's not her fault. She grew up like that. Her dad left for and started a new family. She was abused her whole life, doesn't know how to communicate stuff. It's not her fault. Yeah, it doesn't make anything she's done right or how she's treated me or the things that she said. My mom does show her love to me and supports me in this way financially right now. I'm living in her condo rent free, right? And I'm grateful. Yeah, I'm highly motivated. So my point is like I realized all this and I said, okay, well, it's not her fault. And thank you for that yesterday because now I got to go ahead and look within. I'm sorry it was in my field of energy because she's been reflecting that to me. My own worthiness wound. Still. And my own worthiness to speak up, my own worthiness to be vulnerable. And I said, please forgive me. Like, I'm sorry for having this and I'm giving it a new meaning. This is now I'm grateful for because now it's showing me that my biggest thing is sticking up for myself to her because I believe that she's not going to change, because I believe that she's not emotional, because I believe she's not going to realize that I am worthy of her grace, her compassion, that I'm worthy of her actually feeling and understanding me and recognizing my feelings. So you know what I did today? I did Ho'oponopono. I unconditionally love my mom. It's true, and it's like no matter like that. That's just it. Like I unconditionally love her. So what did I do? This gave me an opportunity to step into my vulnerability in this way. And when I just got off the phone with her 5 minutes before starting this video, I expressed the things I had mentioned, and on top of that, I expressed to her how I felt. And when I said that to her, and I brought up my cat and all these things, she understood. She actually realized that no, I didn't do it to be manipulative. I did it in a creative way to help her understand the value of importance of life. And I didn't care about the outcome. And I made it about me, though. I said, this is how I feel. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine if I wasn't here tomorrow and you just left it at that? And that you told me to get out of your life. And I all of a sudden did, just like my cat, all of a sudden just gone that same night. Right. So, however, and then she realized like, oh man, I didn't realize like that's how you've been feeling. And it's like, yeah, it's like it hurts. It actually does not feel good. And I thought this whole time if I said that to her, she wouldn't care and she would just brush it off. And I mentioned it to her. I told her every time I try to talk to you, you brush it off. You're always busy. You never take time to be in the present moment. And this is why I actually told her the other day that I don't feel like she loves me sometimes because I feel like her love is very conditional and it seems that way. I mean, yeah, it's the only way she may know how to show it. And I even brought up the Bulgarian thing. It's not just because you're Bulgarian, it's how you choose to show up to the people that you love. And it's like, I know you see me as someone who's smart and intelligent, who's done a lot and is strong and resilient. I'm human too, and it hurts. And especially from the person that's my mom. And I believe you do love me or you don't. Like, how are you going to show it? Is it abusive or not? Like, you're neglecting my feelings. And then she got it and she said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how you felt. Why? Because I stepped through the fire. I looked within that wormhole, even though it hurt to look at that time when she told me she wished she had me aborted, even the time when the divorce is my fault, even though I'm the one who saved her and helped her do it, helped her, you know, through the process. And she was so grateful. And now she's really happy with her boyfriend, right? So I looked through that pain, that wormhole, and I was able to see where my worthiness stemmed. And I expressed that to her today. I didn't express that part. I expressed how she keeps treating me is allowing me to feel how I feel when she does certain things. And then she also tried to pinpoint it. Like, she tried to revert back. She's like, oh no, I was mad at you because of the dishwasher situation or whatever. And I'm like, that's okay. I respect this thing that you're saying. However, you're changing it to the dishwasher. I'm expressing to you my feelings and you're neglecting them right now by switching over to that. It's because of this. She literally said, because of this happened, this is why I reacted this way. I get how you reacted. You get to choose how you show up to the people and that you love. And it's not a good way to show up because that's toxic. She's like, you think it's toxic for me to be upset about you running the dishwasher? And I'm like, no, that's completely valid. What's toxic is the way you act like literally a child and say, get out of my life because you're not processing your emotions. That's toxic. And she's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, let's stay separate from the things, right? So my point of this whole thing is, I know I took you through freaking memory lane and whatnot. This is me. This is the most vulnerable I've ever been in any video. And I think there's value to it if you followed along. Point is, if I did not do the inner work and I went through that wound, and I would have kept believing my mom is not going to change. My mom is not going to see that what I have to say about my feelings, she's not going to understand and she's going to brush it off. That I'm not worthy of her understanding. You know what though? Again, I got creative. I expressed it vulnerably and she got it. Why? Because I healed it. I didn't come out of a place to attack her on it. I just expressed vulnerably and I let go of the outcome because either way, I'm going to be okay. Either way, it's going to work out. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep surviving. I'm going to keep figuring it out. And you know what? Today she actually admitted, validated, and said sorry. She actually said sorry to me. She rarely ever says sorry to me. She actually realized it though. Because I changed my beliefs around this whole thing, knowing and adding awareness to all of it. So this is what's possible for you, even when you believe someone isn't going to shift. And so what if they don't? Because my next step would have been here, and this would have been the recognition is, I would have seen my mom as toxic and I can't be around her. So guess what? As soon as I move out, I get to admit all that then, and I'm going to leave. And it's like, I can't have you in my life. There's going to be a distance between us until you can figure, I'll express it and then it's up to you. I need distance, right? Now I see there's a door open where my mom is possible to shifting and actually showing up in a more healthy way in my life. My whole reality just shifted, by the way, by doing this, by being vulnerable, by going through the wound, by saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And we both just said I love you over the phone to each other. like we just had a breakthrough because of the work that I'm willing to go through. Because it's scary to admit that to your parents. It's scary, especially if you grew up suppressing your emotions and being abused, and especially if your other parent did too, from another parent. Like, but that is what's possible if you do the inner work and if you shift your beliefs to create the reality that you do prefer. And it's scary. It's scary to go through that fire. So, and we'll make a way more refined video focusing. I'm really happy that I was able to release this. It wasn't really thought out as much because I get it. Again, it is raw of emotion that have been mainly processed, like 90%. I really felt this was valuable. And if you're listening to this and working out or crocheting or whatever, let me know in the comments if this helped you and assisted you, because that would mean a lot to me. And please like and subscribe. It's that way I know that I'm assisting. By the way, if you do click that like button, it is an energetic transfer. It's a vibrational transfer of you hitting that screen and tapping it, and it's going to send either way. So just letting you know. I'm not doing it as like a cheesy way for you to hit the like button. It genuinely will send that energy and reflect back. So I hope this helped you, beautiful soul. Much love to you. Have a wonderful, magnificent, transformative, alchemizing day. Stay open, stay vulnerable, shift your beliefs. Don't be afraid to walk through that fire and see where that wound is and realize and forgive it's not their fault if they didn't know how to love you. It doesn't make what they're doing right. It makes it so that way it's not their fault because they're doing the best they can at whatever level of consciousness that they're at. And it makes it so much easier to forgive and then be grateful because they showed you an area that you get to heal from. We get to move it away from your energetic field so you can start attracting more people that will love you on that level, on that spectrum that you want to experience. And I love you because I unconditionally want the best for you. And that's it. While you place your very conditional boundaries. Because I was so close to setting one where that distance from my own mom would have been a very conditional boundary. And I didn't want that. I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Step through the fire. Much love, love and light vibration out. This is what the human experience is about, baby.